Algo Plus episode 20. It's a beautiful Thursday here in Australia, very gray. But how is everything over there, Fred Estante, special guest host?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's it going, Audrey?
Pretty good. How's it going with you?
Good. It's a nice evening here in Brazil. It's about 12 degrees Celsius right now. So to our US friends, that's maybe 45, 50. So it's slightly chilly, but it's a very beautiful night. I can actually see the stars, and that is a very rare thing in my city because usually have a lot of cloud cover. So it is a nice evening, but it's even better to be here with you today and filling in for Ryan. So I promise I'll do my best and to try to live up to to everything that he brings to Doggo Plus. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Ryan is fishing at the moment. If you heard us last week, you would know that. So good on him. He doesn't even have his phone, or where he is doesn't have cell phone coverage anyway. So we are taking this here with us. What's happening with the community in Brazil, Fred? It's good to have a little update and understand what's going on there.
Alrighty, thanks for asking, Audrey. I know you love Brazil, right? I wonder why. So the community in Brazil, as you all know very well, we recently started operations here in Brazil, and we are growing our community. We started hosting a weekly Twitter Spaces in Portuguese about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and it's growing nice. The very first one we hosted, maybe we had like 6 or 8 people live because the community was super small. The last one we hosted last week. We had around 45 to 50 people live and over 150 checked out the recording afterwards. So it's growing well, it's growing strong. And what's really nice is that the community here in Brazil, because Brazil is such an artistic country, it's actually really, really dominated by artists and creators. So the vast majority of the active members of our community are artists. They're creating their art in the urban blockchain and drawing more artists to the chain. So we have all sorts of art, from photography to street art and graffiti. It's a very fantastic community with amazing art. I absolutely love it. But yes, we are growing strong, and hopefully, through some campaigns and some other things that we're going to be launching here in Brazil soon, we're going to start growing this community also towards the developer side. So we're about to make some announcements for courses and content for developers to come build an algorithm. Everything's going to be all the support's going to be there in Portuguese for them. So I'm super excited about this. I cannot wait for our community to become big and have a large impact in the global algorithm scene.
Indeed, in a country that has 10 times the population of Australia, I think the potential for developers and community of builders is really immense, right? So I can't wait to see that happen there. Very exciting. All right, let's jump into the news. But before I do that, quick announcement: we will have Michael Cotton from Algo Mint joining us later today. We also have Mars Coro from Polen Eyes joining us later today, and Mariela Mejia from Metal Labs joining us later today. They all have exciting announcements for us, so let's get through the news so we can get our guests up on stage. And if you are not one of these three people that I already mentioned, but have something to say, put your hand up. We'll invite you on stage later on today as well. So, first of all, the ACE program grantees have been announced. The ACE program is the Algorand Centers for Excellence. The Algorand Foundation is awarding a total of $50 million over 5 years to 10 university programs around the world. And we received 77 proposals with over 550 participants representing 46 countries. And the winners were selected by an international panel of 27 experts from, a diverse set of disciplines. The 10 winners lead 36 sub-organizations. What does that mean? So there's collaboration of each one of these universities with other universities in different areas, and there's more information coming about each university program later on. But the universities are in the United States: University of California, Berkeley, Carnegie Mellon University, University of Florida, Yale University, and Purdue University. In Australia, yay, we have Monash University, and I'm gonna be. They are in Melbourne. I'm gonna be down there end of the month, and I'm gonna be having a chat with a PI there, Dr. Joseph Liu. In Italy, we have Roma Tre University. In Germany, the Technical University of Munich. South Africa, we have University of Cape Town, and lastly, Singapore, we have the Nanyang Technical University. So congratulations to all the grantees. Can't wait to see all the research and amazing work that's going to come from that.
That is amazing news, Audrey. Thank you very much for sharing. And I am super happy that you have one of the grantees that's actually somewhat fairly close to you. I'm so excited to see how, the ACE program is going to further develop into these major universities that were selected for this. And you're going to be able to tell us firsthand, how this develops in Australia. So congratulations for having a local university. I'm super excited to hear more as these things develop.
Me too. And then we're going to hear a little bit more from me, but a lot more from Ryan because the US, being the Ivy League galore of universities that they are, they certainly have one, two, three, four, five grantees. So Ryan's going to be a lot busier talking to these people, and so will be Autumn. I have one university to look after, and I'm really, really excited. I've already had like a few online chats with Dr. Liu about this and his plans, and there are so many community stuff that will come out of this engagement as well that I'm really excited to work with. So congrats to all the grantees. Let's move along. What's next, Fred?
That is amazing, and well, that is a fantastic, news to start the week. But that was not the only good news we have to celebrate, right, Audrey? I think we have something else that we're all very, very, very extremely happy about, which is the new website of the Algo Foundation. For everybody that's listening to us right now, please just wave a hand or show an emoji if you have checked out the new Algo Foundation website. We absolutely love it. It looks amazing. It looks stunning. I love it. I'm a huge fan of it already. And I think the one of the things that to me was the most I loved the most was like right in the homepage, like as soon as you load the website, it has all these crazy stats about the algorithm blockchain. It shows how impressive we are. But I have two of my favorites that are definitely the number of forks and the network downtime that we have had so far. Those are very round zeros. So I'm super proud of that, and I think that makes a very clear statement to the quality of our tech. But I absolutely love the website. What was your feeling, Aji, when you first saw it?
I love the website as well, the look and feel. But look, a website redesign launch day, it's only day one of a lot of work to do. And we've had a whole bunch of feedback from the community like, oh, this is missing. Let's add this as well. And, all of these things are being taken into consideration. We set up a email address. It's website at algorand.foundation. So if you have a suggestion, just send us an email, and we're gonna be looking at those in the coming weeks. So great website, but the work has just restarted.
Amazing, amazing. But I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm so happy we have this new website. But what else do we have going on today, Audrey?
Oh, Argument. Well, Michael's gonna tell us all the details about this later. I just want to do a call out to this. Argument USD basket is live on testnet. So Michael will come on stage a little bit later to tell us what does that mean, and it's testnet, so that means we should probably use it on the test mode and see what works, and perhaps there'll be some benefits to doing that later on when they go on mainnet. So we'll hear more about that a little bit later on the show. What else, Fred?
Fantastic. Really looking forward to hear all about this directly from Mike. I think this is going to be a treat for us today. Moving on in the news for the week, Glitter Finance launched the very first bridge connecting Algorand to Solana. So in case you're a Solana user and you have your Sol tokens over there, you can bridge them and bring them to the best blockchain for DeFi, which is of course Algorand, right? So if you have tried the bridge already, please let us know. Raise the hand, come up and tell your experience later. I have not personally used it yet, so I'm curious to see, the feedback from the community. And what else do we have going on, Audrey?
AlgoFi also has launched their new version. View 2 is now live. That brings on larger compatibility, flash loans in non-vault markets, DEX, LPs, LP tokens that can be used as collateral on lending market, and also the launch of their stablecoin V2. And I think
That is super exciting.
there was a post about that on Reddit as well, which I don't know if you guys know, but Fred here, he's the Reddit master when it comes to all algorithm things. So he spends most of his day there.
Pretty much, just don't say that too loud, okay? But pretty much, yeah. That's when I first fell in love with Algorand was on Reddit. So Reddit has a very special place in my heart, for everything Algorand related.
Well, somebody's got to do that job. I'm glad it's you because you really love it. And we have one more piece of news before we move to events.
Yes, Para Wallet has released a new update, and in the latest update, we have the so finally much awaited NFT domains integration. So we can finally go to Para Wallet and use our beloved NFTs, for transactions and for everything else we like. And aside from that, we also have some better visibility right now for inner transactions, so you can see a little bit better the inner workings of smart contract calls. There are also some interface improvements and a few other points that I'm really looking forward to be playing around the next couple of days.
That is awesome. I love that Peter has had like a good roadmap of changes and improvements for this year, and version 3 is now 5.3 is now out, but lots more good stuff to come from them between now and December. Okay, in events, we have the Greenhouse Hacks, as everybody know, is now live. The bounties are live on Gitcoin for another couple of weeks and a bit. So I'm really interested to see what sort of projects are going to come out of this first Greenhouse Hack, especially in the lead up to the next Greenhouse Hack, which is going to be in September, kicking off in Singapore right after the AVM. What are the dates again for that, Fred?
Fantastic, Adrian. I'm super looking forward to this. So the dates are September 27th for the AVM in Singapore at the Token 2049 conference, and then also is going to take place on September 28th and 29th. So, just a couple weeks away.
Perfect. And a month, 2 months after that, we have the Decipher in Dubai. I think the website for those two events, it should be going live. For the AVM, I think it should be this week or next at the latest. And for Decipher, it should be by the end of the month. So keep an eye out for that. And what we have
Fantastic.
on DeFi Llama.
On DeFi Llama, all right. There's just one more thing that I want to share today, if I may, about events, Audrey. Can I?
Of course.
Absolutely. So this is going to be some news to some of our followers here because we have started advertising here in the Brazilian channels in Portuguese, but not so much on the international channels. But the Algorand Foundation is extremely happy to announce that we are the major sponsors for NFT São Paulo. NFT São Paulo is going to be an event targeted to bring international visibility to Brazilian NFT artists. This is a multi-chain event, so no, they're covering all the bases. But Algorand is the main sponsor for the event, so we have a very special place. A lot of our Brazilian artists have already registered to participate and be featured and showcased in the events, both in the physical event that's going to take place in mid-November, but also in the online galleries that are going to run throughout the entire second semester. And the good news doesn't stop there because not only Algorand is the major sponsor for the event, but also Algo Gems is the official NFT marketplace for the event. So they're going to be doing a lot of drops, probably ticketing, and many other things related to the actual event, NFTs, POAPs, and all of that through the Algorand blockchain, through the Algo Gems marketplace. So I'm super excited about that. Very soon, we're going to start releasing some more information, especially the links to the online galleries, the metaverse galleries on spatial that are being built. So the Algo fam at large can come and see not only the Brazilian Algorand artists that are being featured and showcased into the conference, but also just general Brazilian art for everybody to come and appreciate. So I'm super excited about this, and we're going to be having lots more to announce in the upcoming weeks. So stay tuned.
This is really wonderful news. I'm hope I could be there. I think it's in the same month where the Cypher is going to be held, right?
Yes, I think it's probably going to be about a week or 10 days before. So it's going to be a tight schedule. But hey, you should try to come, right? It's a lot of traveling, but it will be worth it.
We'll see about that. All right. So DeFi Llama stats. I think we hit 200 million USD this week, right? With 608 million algos. I love seeing these numbers grow on week to week and seeing that the confidence in the ecosystem is growing.
Yeah, this growth is so beautiful. I absolutely love it. It shows that even during the bear market, our main DeFi protocols keep on building, and the Algo fam keeps on participating and helping and trying things out. And not only the Algo fam and us, DGens, but even the investors in our ecosystem, right? Like we saw Borderless Capital doing, deploying some of their holdings to the liquid governance protocol and basically all the major DeFi liquid governance protocols in the ecosystem, some other VCs and big names in the ecosystem as well. So this is exciting. We keep on building and we keep on delivering, and our community keeps getting stronger regardless of what's happening, in the real world out there. So this is truly exciting, and I cannot wait for us to break the 1 billion algo mark, Audrey.
Oh, yeah, me neither. We're going in the right direction. All right. Before we do partnerships, guys, if your name is Mars Curro, Mariella Major, and Michael Cotton, please put your hand up and get the request to speak, so we bring you on stage whilst we talk about partnerships, which is gonna be very quick because there was, apart from all the ACE universities that were announced yesterday, there are no new partnerships news to talk about. So, yes, we want to bring you all on stage to say hello and hear what are you working on, and I'm talking and adding people as speakers. And hold on, I'm nearly finished. Uh, People say women are great multitaskers, but I sometimes disagree with that. I have to do one thing at a time. All right, Michael Cotton, let's start with you because we've already preempted a little bit of, what you were going to talk about. Tell us more about the Algomint USD basket.
Hey
Hello.
everyone, hey Fred, hey Adri, thanks everyone for having me. Um, so yeah, there's plenty going on in the space at the moment, which is great. And I think, as Fred said, we're seeing so many of the projects really focusing on building. So I think we'll see a lot of great products in this sort of next 5 month window leading up to Christmas, which will be brilliant. On the Algomint side, we have the beta of the Go USD testnet live. So the long-term vision of the baskets is, as we slowly add more assets, you'll be able to wrap assets like, DAI and USDC and USDT from Ethereum and other USDs like BUSD, HUSD, and bring them across into a solidified single USD asset, which would be Go USD. It'll also allow you to swap between assets. So you could go, for example, from DAI on Ethereum to USDC on Algorand, which will be really exciting. And the other really magical piece is we actually don't hold that liquidity ourselves. We actually partner with key stability stable pool swaps to deploy that liquidity, and we actually hold the LP tokens in the bridge, which also creates a huge amount of liquidity and utility from those assets, and creates a genuine business model long term for Algomint as well, which ties into what Pact is launching. So Pact which is very close to going live. It'll be the very first smart contract enabled stable swaps on Algorand. The team have done some incredible work on bringing that to life, and that's due out imminently in line with the USD basket, which will be great.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to it, and I think especially once we can start seeing things like other assets like DAI and other similar assets coming across into Algorand. I think the other piece to keep in mind as well is this kind of stability pool becomes incredibly useful for our synthetic USDs on Algorand as well. So things like XUSD and stable, this will become incredibly valuable if those assets are accepted into the basket. It'll be incredibly valuable to create a lot of velocity in terms of being able to borrow stable or XUSD and trade into other assets through stable swaps at very little slippage at high volume.
Michael, this is amazing. If I may ask real quick again, can you just mention again which are the stable coins that we're going to be supporting?
So initially, it'll be USDC on Algorand is the beta test. So that's what we're running with first. As I think most people probably appreciate, it's what we feel strongest around safety as an asset. So the beta will be run just with USDC. We'll quite quickly look to add USDT on Algorand for version 2. and then we'll look at which of the synthetics, XUSD and stable, we can add as well, which will be also in tying with larger stable swap pools coming to market through exchanges like PAX. So timelines on that aren't set for when those sort of pools will come live, but similar to things like Curve, we'll be able to run matched pairings of different stablecoin pools, and with PAX auto routing will mean you can go from stable to USDC to USDT to go USD in really, really low spreads in volume, which will be brilliant. But as we expand into the multi-chain version, on the Ethereum side, for example, we're looking at DAI, USDC, USDT, HUSD, PAX, Gemini, BUSD, so a really strong range of USD tokens that you'll then be able to simply swap across into Algorand, into all the different tokens in the basket, or into the standardized Go USD.
That is fantastic. Love it. Cannot wait for this to come live. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate
Pleasure.
it.
Thanks, MC.
No worries. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, Mariella, what's going on in Meta Labs? Something happened this week. It was exciting.
Happened. It was big. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm coming to you live from the banks of the Yarra River, which is where I get to walk to work every day, which is fantastic. So I hope you can hear the nature behind me, because that's what I'm actually here to talk to you about, is a bit of nature, a bit of exciting news that we have at Meadow Labs. This morning, we closed out the auction for the official Steve Irwin Crocodile Hunter NFT, which is a really special NFT. It has Steve Irwin's personal signature and full endorsement from the Irwin family. So it's the only official NFT crocodile hunter out there. No matter anyone who's tried to replicate it, this is the one that's got the absolute stamp of approval. This morning, it sold for 6,000 algos in crypto winter, which is phenomenal. Incredible results. But the true thing that I get really passionate about here is that 100% of proceeds, it's not profits, it's proceeds, goes directly to Australia Zoo and their sustainability and conservation efforts, which is just absolutely phenomenal. We've also got Drop 2 coming up, and I'm really excited about this one, because with this drop, we actually get to, with all the proceeds that we do from this drop, we actually get to go and save some koalas, which have become an endangered species in February this year. So really exciting stuff. Drop 1 was an absolute sellout, sold in 10 hours. We onboarded about 1,300 new wallets in 24 hours to the Algorand ecosystem, which is phenomenal. But I think, look, all I have to say, all that's left to say is, 1, get involved, but 2 is a massive thank you to the Algorand community, because it's not lost on us that we're in the midst of crypto winter, and yet we're still having these astronomical results.
This is fantastic. I know that how hard you and the team have worked for the Drop 1. A lot of those 1,300 new wallets were new people to, the blockchain ecosystem. So you had to do a lot of hand-holding and explaining of how things work. Amazing job. I can only, hope to see more of this happening throughout all the 5 drops that you're gonna do with Australia Zoo. And if we get to raise like $500,000 for the animal hospital, it's such a good result, and I really do hope we get there.
I do too, Adrian. I think, look, we are already well on the way. So really looking forward to doing some really major impacts. But look, I think this goes to show, 1, how strong the Algorand community is and how fantastic they are. But 2, that there's no better place for this project than the Algorand chain. So really stoked about that. So thank you, everybody, for your support. And please keep supporting us. Every little algo counts.
Indeed. Thank you, Mariella. Hope to have you back to talk about, the next drop when that happened and, has been announced. I know it will happen sometime this month, but, hopefully you'll come here and drop some alpha before it happens.
You can count on it. Thank you for having me, Adrian, Fred. Appreciate it.
Thanks, hon. Mars, what's up with pollinize? Let's pollinize.
Good morning, Adrian. Thanks for having me. Hey, Fred, how you doing? I just wanted to say also thanks, Fred, for all the work you're doing on the Reddit fun fact, I wouldn't have been in the Algorand ecosystem if it wasn't for that Reddit. That was actually the way that I met Michael Cotton, through a connection from the Algorand Reddit. So yeah, thanks for the work you put in there and the awesome community that's been built there.
Fantastic. And just to share some quick numbers, we're about to hit 70,000 members on the Algorand official subreddit. So we continue to grow strong and fast. So it's super exciting to meet another fellow Redditor.
Yeah,
Long
for sure.
live subreddit, right?
Definitely. Well, thanks for having me. I'm Mars, co-founder of Polynize. We're a game platform for brands to rapidly breed solutions to real-world problems, and we just launched our alpha games last week, which was a awesome success with the always amazing Benji from Algo and we basically ran a mission for Benji to solve the problem of how do we attract cross-chain collectors to grow the Algo NFT ecosystem, which is something that Benji's been working very hard on, pulling collectors from other chains into the Algorand ecosystem, and we've been seeing a lot of that happen, which is super exciting for the projects. But the goal of the missions are always to activate a community and create solutions for these challenges that brands are facing. And we had awesome engagement. We had about 60 players in this first game. And first prize was one of the awesome Algo art goannas, which is a collab with Soffles. Awesome piece of art, which went out to the top prize, and top 10 received a spot in the whitelist for the next Algo drop. Super engaged community. We got a lot out of it, and we're already developing the platform to make it stronger for the next games. We've got a series of games. So the alpha games are essentially partnerships with Algorand projects to work on challenges that they're experiencing during this bear market. And we've got some great partnerships that we'll be announcing in the next week. But obviously, if there's any other brands there that want to activate their community and create some solutions for some challenges that they're working on, hit me up and we can organize a mission. So that's coming up in the next week. We've got a lot of fun things. We've got some awesome NFT collections that will be co-minting with some NFT projects to create teams of avatars, and so we'll start forming teams of innovators that come in and play these missions. And soon we'll be opening that up cross-chain as well, looking at Solana, so we can have some real cross-chain battles and play some games with Algorand projects versus Solana projects, and that'll be a lot of fun coming in the future. So yeah, get involved, jump on our Discord, links on our Twitter, and yeah, love to see you in the next mission.
Maz, can you tell us a little bit about how the gameplay is? I mean, I know because I've played it, but just, in broad strokes for our listeners, how does Polynize work?
Well, we've been working on Polynize for 6 years. So initially it was a tabletop game, and we spent 3 to 4 years working on these game dynamics of how do you get this perfect balance of creativity, collaboration, and competition. And so it's always been a fine balance of that. So porting that into the digital realm, it's a process of basically you come in as a player, you get your mission brief from the mission backer to tell you exactly what you're working towards. You create what's called a poly. A poly is essentially the container of your creative energy. And so you create a poly, which can be in audio format, so an audio pitch, written format, and you can upload an image to sort of add value and add a bit of context to what you're doing. Once you create your poly, then you go through a process which is called sparking and pollinizing. And the sparking process is based on mine and my co-founder's history in the music industry. So this spark process is when you hear an idea that really sort of energizes you or sparks potential in your mind. That means that there's something there to explore. And so that there's a process in the game where you look at different ideas, you spark the ones you like. You're only allowed to spark 6. Once you've sparked those 6, then the next thing is to pick the top 3 and pollinize those. And you take those top 3 into the next generation, and you can combine those with your ideas to further develop and refine a new idea in the future generations. And so what happens is you have this organic mass of innovation happening and those every single part of that and every single interaction has been specifically designed for this perfect balance of creativity, competition, and collaboration. And once you move in generations, and I think we had 9 generations in the last mission, you get some really amazing solutions that then get minted as NFTs, and those NFTs can then move into other types of missions to develop towards essentially a fully fledged product. So that's top. That's as TLDR as I can make it.
I mean, I understood that. I've played the game. And on that note, I know you guys are running alpha games as closed games. They're not open for the community. It's by invitation only because you're still testing some of the features of the product and seeing how you can improve things. But for the Algo community, how is there a place where they can sign up to be in the alpha games? Or how does it work for the broader community?
Definitely, there's definitely several of these alpha games which will be open to the public and basically open to our polynauts and our Discord server. So if you want to come in there, that's the best place to get that information. What we've found actually is as we all know, the Algo fam is an amazing place to be, and so even though some of these missions were initially pitched as private, we've found that the project leads are really open to other people coming in and playing as well. So yeah, there's always a spot available. There's always a game to play, and we'll be launching some public ones actually in the next week or two. So definitely keep an eye out on for that.
That is really great news because I do think the more people play Polynize, the more our ecosystem can grow because, it's a very interesting way of harnessing the ideas of people that you otherwise wouldn't have access to. So, yes, watch this space, everyone. Great things to come from there.
Thanks, Adriana. I appreciate that.
All right. Karen, hello.
Hi. Oh, it's a busy morning for you guys on this podcast.
That's great. That's what we like.
So I'm really excited because we've got a Melbourne Algorand Palooza coming up at the end of August, early September. Lots of events happening. We've got Women in Emerging Tech, which is sponsored by the Victorian Government and Deloitte Digital. We've got you speaking, Adriana. So if anyone needs a sneaky ticket, please hit me up. We've also got the Student Hub launching on the 6th of September with Monash, Deakin, RMIT, and Melbourne Unis, and Swinburne all coming along for the student events. And we've got what we got? Oh yeah, we've got the NFT event at the Oshi Gallery on the 1st of September as well. So we'll be really happy to profile any Algorand NFTs at that event too. So we've been busy planning at the Algo Hub.
Yes, I'm looking forward to going to Melbourne and, catching up with the community there, attending your events. You've always done such an amazing job. And now we have a new community champion in Melbourne. Haven't seen him here yet. Hamish, if you're in the audience, put your hand up and come say hi. But I'm looking forward to seeing what you are putting together there.
Fantastic. Looking forward to sharing with you all.
And also, Karen, what else is happening with Algo Hub? Have you guys launched your PyTeal course yet?
We're almost there. 2/3 of the course is there, so you can come to Algo Hub and have a look at the course and check it out. But yeah, we're nearly there. I'm just waiting for the devs to finish building. You're all familiar with.
We need to get devs together with Fred so some of those resources can be translated to Portuguese for his devs.
That sounds amazing.
Yes, please. Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Amazing. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Adri. Thanks, Fred.
Michael has his hand up. What's up, Michael?
Hey, Adri. Sorry, I forgot to mention as well, for those that aren't familiar with Wayru, their launch for their decentralized internet pools and devices is going live in the next couple of weeks as well. If anyone hasn't checked it out, it's a really interesting project. They're bringing decentralized internet to those, particularly who don't have access to internet traditionally. So very similar to a sort of a crowd-based style of internet sharing and internet provision, but they're launching both devices that you can purchase and then join the network to provide internet in your area, or you can also join the pools where they'll be deploying devices across regions that need it, particularly that need it most.
Do you know how do the devices work? Do you have to connect like hardwire to your internet connection? How does it work?
Yeah, exactly. So you connect it into your internet connection, and then people can actually connect in and use your Wi-Fi service through Wayroo. So originally the product was particularly designed for Latin America. I don't know if anyone knows the stats, but the stats in Latin America of people that don't have access to the internet is actually quite extraordinary. So initially the idea was to create low cost internet access into those kind of regions. You can also listen to things or watch ads on your device to earn free internet. So this was also a great way to provide internet to those that can't afford it, where they can actually access the Wayroo network, watch ads, earn internet time, and then have free access to the internet. So yeah, you can personally buy a device and then offer internet services in your region, or you can participate in the pools. You know, for me personally, like where I am in Australia, you know, I think participating in the pools is what I would be choosing to do, mostly because the team are going to deploy those devices in high use areas where it makes the most sense and it's needed most, and then they manage that whole process as well. So you essentially own a tokenized version of a pool of 1,000 devices that are deployed.
That sounds really interesting, and I had not heard about it till right now. How do you spell the name of the project? It's
WAYRU. I think .io and .com both lead you to the same place from memory.
Okay. All right, we'll go check it out. Sounds cool.
Yeah, really interesting project, and the team are great. You know, a lot higher energy than most people, which is always energizing to be on a call with them.
How did you come about this project, Michael?
I'm one of the mentors in the Rocker Accelerator, and the guys came through the last cohort of the Rocker Accelerator. Yeah. We invested, and then we also stayed on as advisors to help the team through, mostly on focusing on their tokenomic strategy. But you know, brilliant team doing some really interesting work. So yeah, five days until the pre-sale of devices and hotspot pools go live. But yeah, really interesting project.
Sounds good. So do you reckon it's a good idea for countries where the internet connection is not as good to be the ones where the devices are deployed? And will there be a way, do you know if there will be a way for people to sponsor those devices? For example, I'm in Australia, we have good internet here, we don't really have, I mean, mostly but you know, could I sponsor a device in a different location, for example?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Adrian, and they actually do have a program around this. So there's two components, and these aren't the only components, but there's two components. Number one, they sell an NFT series called Airblocks. My PFP is actually one of them. All the funds from those sales, including all the royalties, go towards providing internet free of charge to those that need it most. So it's not necessarily sponsoring a specific device, but it's doing something quite similar. They're also looking at other options around how they can do things exactly like what you're saying, is actually say, look, I don't even want any earnings from my device. I just want to provide this service. So they're looking at options around how they could also do that as well, which I think is a brilliant idea, because in reality, the cost of providing internet to large groups of people in these kind of regions is incredibly low cost. So you can do quite a lot of good without a huge spend.
That's a really interesting. My mind's running like 1,000, miles an hour, just thinking about all the things. Also, like some of the implications. For example, when you're sharing your Wi-Fi connection, how do we improve security? And also, how do we manage the access to the connection so we don't go over our limits for the month? All these things are already going through my head. It's such an interesting idea.
Yeah, completely. And the Wayroo team, to give you some background, this is really their history. They've worked in ISPs and internet service provision across Latin America before, and they have a lot of talent in that region. So I think it's a really great example of industry adopting blockchain, which, if anyone's ever heard me talk about that before, I'm a big fan of. When you bring industry expertise into this space, and then they use distributed ledger technology to improve on products, I think it's incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. Fred, have you got any questions?
Yeah, I do have a question for Michael on going back to Algomet, but just to add to this, I absolutely love their business model because, especially in places like, Latin America and some other developing countries, it allows people that, have, financial struggles to go and just buy internet access for, fractions of minutes or fractions of an hour. So you can go really quick and do whatever you have to do online for 5, 7 minutes, maybe because you cannot afford, having a subscription for internet the whole month, but you can buy basically tickets to use the internet for a couple minutes and get everything done. So I think that's really going to help bring internet capabilities to people that are pretty much outside the system today, and that also ties really well with the general blockchain mission. Of course, one mission that I take very seriously in Algorand, which is helping bank the unbanked, right? Because from the moment that you give access to people that they can use the internet even for a couple of minutes a month, the whole world of the solutions the blockchain can bring to these people opens up very quickly. So I'm super excited about this. I cannot wait for these guys to go live. I'm already looking to get my own router for my city here in Brazil, so I can be part of the game as well. And I'm super excited. Looking forward to this. And I do have one more question to Michael, if you don't mind, just going back very quickly to the USD basket. Michael, can you share a little bit of just like an estimate or timeline on when you guys are going to be adding the Ethereum side of the bridge, and maybe when you're looking forward to mainnet? Just some rough timelines for us to be able to track better.
Yeah, for sure. And also just quickly on the Wayru piece too. I think the other element was that idea that you can also watch ads to earn free internet. I thought that was a really interesting piece. So you don't actually even need fund yourself. You could watch 5 short ads and earn an hour worth of internet, for example, which I think is brilliant. And like you say, then those that haven't had access to financial networks like blockchain, which I think is where Algorand poses so much value. At the moment, 90-something% of the world can't afford Ethereum transactions, let alone have access to the kind of financial freedom blockchain can offer. Whereas Algorand offers that kind of capability, and then if you add in things like access to free internet, it's a really brilliant combination. In terms of real-world use cases in countries like Australia, a really great example that you can imagine connecting a Wayru device to a Starlink internet satellite, portable satellite that you're then offering internet in regional parts of Australia in, caravan parks or all these other kind of areas that tend to lack access to internet or find struggles for internet. I think is quite an interesting use case for a first world country like Australia as well. In terms of AlgoMint, mainnet is in the next 2 weeks for Go USD beta, which we're really excited for. So that is particularly close. V2 will be later this year, which will be expanding out on the assets inside the basket. As you can imagine, the math becomes a lot more complex, because essentially what we're doing is we're genuinely marketing, we're genuinely pricing the assets in the basket based off a foundational asset. So the idea being, if an asset depegs by a cent, we're actually accounting for that in the basket when you come and swap. So the math becomes a lot more complex once we start to add assets that might vary from $1, which is why USDC was a really simple place to start as a 2-asset pairing. So it'll be Algorand side for more expanded assets later this year. Once we get that right and the math's right, we're having an economic audit as well to ensure that math is correct. We can then start to build out on the Ethereum side. So I don't have an exact date on the Ethereum side, but the expanded Algorand version will be later this year.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Michael. Really looking forward to all of this.
Yes, Algorand, the only place where basket case is a good thing.
I like to think so. Thanks, Adrian.
I do love the Wayru idea. I think we're talking about internet here for people to do financial transactions or, to look up something on the internet. It's not for Netflix. So it's really for basic things that we take for granted because we have access all day long. But yeah, this is a wonderful, wonderful idea. To all our speakers, does anybody have a question for each other? Anybody else in the audience want to come up on stage? Do you have a question for the guys and girls? Fred, any parting words?
No, not right now. I was actually going to ask something else to Mars, but I think Mars just left, right?
I can still see Mars.
No, Mars is here. Sorry. All right. Sorry. No. Yeah. Somehow it bugged out here. So, Mars, I do have a quick question for you while we await for members of the audience to come and ask questions. But you mentioned that you guys have some sort of like a roadmap of different games that you want to bring online. What do how does this roadmap look like in the sense of like what do they share? What do each of these games share? In terms of engine and dynamics, and what they're apart, what they're unique from each other. So, if you can just shed a little bit of light on that to understand how these games connect to each other, or basically how they all connect together.
So I'm guessing you're talking about the progression of different missions. Well, two things. So the games that we're rolling out for the alpha missions are based on Algorand projects, and they connect together in the sense that the different missions for different projects don't necessarily connect together. But once you have so one of our first mission modes is called strategy mode. So you come up with a strategy to solve the mission challenge. And then the next mission mode we have is planning mode. So then you take that strategy and turn it into a plan. And then that continues to design, build, launch, and back. And so you have these different mission modes, which have, they basically focus the community to create a different type of outcome. That's specific to that particular mission. So what you end up having is a collection of these polys as NFTs that you put them together, and they form different types of what we're calling super polys, which can be then exported and used as to create to create a certain project. So the way they join, we work closely with the project leads, the mission backers, to form the mission questions and the briefing. That's an important part of focusing the creativity of the players towards the actual mission and the objectives of those missions. Each mission has different targets. So you're given 6 targets, and during the game, which is a new feature we're implementing in the next mission, there's an analysis mode. So you as a player can look at the polys that you've pollinized and assess whether they hit certain targets. And this gets added to the rich layer of data that we have in the back end. We're bringing down a data dashboard this week as well, so that's going to be fun to scroll through, because what you end up seeing is this rich interwoven layer of data between the players, the polys they've created, who's supported them, and so you get this rich story of these different polys and how they evolve, and then that helps the backer choose which of these polys, not only that they like the best, but which was actually supported most by the community. So there's this kind of social validation that happens in our data layer where you can see, okay, well, 50 people said this was a great idea and they sparked it. 40 people pollinized it. So all this rich social data comes in to support the project lead to say, okay, well, there's obviously something interesting here about this particular poly. Let's take this and work on it and move it forward into another direction. So they're the processes that we're working through during the alpha testing. This is essentially our testing phase as well, and the community has been just amazing to offer their feedback, and all these tweaks are happening within this next couple of months to really refine the thing you're talking about, the progression of these polys through time.
Martin, this sounds really exciting. Now I think I have a much clearer picture of what the game actually entails. And man, I'm psyched to play this. I cannot wait for you guys to go live or have another round of private testing. I'm excited. I want to join. I want to play this. It sounds really fun. And Audrey, you said you already played, right?
Yes, I did play. Oh well, I was the winner of the game I played. The first
sorry.
one.
So
The first one.
Adriana was actually the first winner of one of our pre-alpha games. So she's essentially the first ever winner of Pollenize. Yes.
Oh wow,
I
she
am.
deserved a special
I'm a true
FC for this.
OG. Colonized OG.
100%. Yeah, that was a great game. We learned a lot from that, and yeah, that was you won 100 algos in that game, which is great.
I did. I've already committed to putting that money back to the community if we ever do like a community backed polonized game, which I think we should. That would be really cool. But look, in terms of the gameplay, I really enjoyed the whole experience of playing the game. The UX is beautiful. The fact that we have to stop and think about it and record something and write something that will be listened by the other players and possibly sparked, it made me want to do really good things and really think about creative ways of solving the mission. And that's really interesting because it's sort of like it sparks in you, right? This competitiveness
Yeah.
of, yes, it's a game I'm playing, but I'm playing for a prize, but I really want my idea to be sparked as much as possible. So I want to do something good and of value, and that it's such an interesting thing to tap on in a large scale. I cannot wait to see how this, I've been telling you guys this for months and months,
Yeah.
whilst you were developing. But now that I've actually played, I really found it really interesting.
Thanks, Adrian. I appreciate that. And yeah, your game was a smaller game. I look forward to hearing your feedback on these bigger games that we're playing now with these latest updates we've done. So I've just put a link to our Discord server in the chat group. So yeah, definitely join, and there'll be some really exciting announcements of some great missions coming up soon.
Amazing.
Mars, I think I just found the best salesperson for your game, right? I'll text you the details afterwards. That sounds amazing. I really want to play this, right?
Adriana has been waiting for so long to play, so yeah, it was only fitting that she was one of the first.
Thank you. I do appreciate it, and I did have lots of fun, and I won. Well, of course, I'm gonna say good things about Polonars. Amazing. Thank you, Mars.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we are at 6 minutes to go. If anyone doesn't come up on stage right now, there's an opportunity to do so again next week when we do this all over again. We are here every week, mostly on Wednesdays if you live in the west part of the world, and it's now I think closing into 9 p.m. Where Fred is in Curitiba, and it's 9:54 closing into 10 a.m. here in Australia. We do this every week, mostly at this time. Last week, we've experimented with a different time where it's morning in the West and late evening here in Australia, which we'll do probably once a month just to try and, bring guests that are in Europe and, are probably sleeping right now. Not Micah, I'm pretty sure he's listening to this because he never sleeps. But I just wanted to do 3 call to actions here. One of them is check our new website, send us suggestions, and say, a big thank you to Ronan on the foundation who ran that project and, worked tirelessly to make that happen. He's now enjoying some well-deserved holidays and he's back next week. But yes, there was a really big pull on his part to bring that across the line in the short time frame that we had. Also, shout out to Algo family. MJ, he's putting out a Twitter thread every Monday that shows all the Twitter spaces related to Algorand that are happening through the week. So if you're not following him yet, please do so. It's at Algo Family here on Twitter, and make sure you have a look at all the other amazing spaces that are there, including Fred's one if you speak Portuguese. And lastly, almost second lastly actually, big shout out to Michael Cotton from Algomint, Mariella from Meadow Labs, Mars from Polonize, and Karen from Algo Hub from coming on stage and having a conversation with us. As you all know, this is a space for you. And last, thank you, Fred, for being here today and filling out for Ryan. We really appreciate and love the work that you do.
Audrey, thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure, but I'm really looking forward, to Ryan being back next week so we can hear all about his fishing stories, right? I'm curious to see what he's going to tell us. And pictures, of course.
If he caught anything, he was going fly fishing. I think there's a lot of technique for that, and hopefully he only hooked up on fish and nothing else like other people. I always think that's a big of a hazard when you just throwing your fish line around with a big hook and like, yeah, you could possibly fish your fishing partner next to you. So yeah, hopefully none of that happened and he just got good fish.
Right, really looking forward to his stories next week. And as we wrap up all these weekly calls, usually by the time we were wrapping up, I'm already started thinking, hey, what are we going to be discussing next week, right? There's just so much happening every week, and even though there's a lot of stuff that we kind of know to the roadmap, we still have good surprises every week and new things that come out of nowhere. So cannot wait to see what we're going to be discussing next week. This is truly exciting times to be in the Algo blockchain.
Me too, but let me tell you something, Fred, that you probably know. On the Reddit, there's also some news wrap up. So if you miss here, or if you prefer reading format rather than listening, or if you just want to double check and read through all the stories that we mostly talk about here, you can also go to Reddit and see your wrap up.
Absolutely. Everybody likes the written form. Reddit is the place. You're all more than invited. Our community is almost 70,000 people strong. So it's a fantastic community over there. And the funny thing is actually the Reddit community doesn't have much overlap with the Twitter community. So these are very different communities. They're very different focuses and interests. So, it's a whole new brave world of Algorand to explore. So I invite you all at the Algorand official subreddit.